Yeah, god dang it, why do they have to sell these things? Yeah, alright, I'm gonna go ahead and have you guys, right now we're just discussing what is CIG's current strategy, what mistakes it's about to make that Wargaming learned and experienced,
And hasn't learned from it.
and has not, and like what mistakes afterwards they should not be making. Yeah. And the funny thing is, World of Warships is 8 years old, and they are technically not finished. By the way, they're still not 1.0 like World of Tanks is. So yeah, they're basically just funding this thing. Now, main difference. World of Warships, understandably, is a free-to-play game. Star Citizen, you can argue, inexpensive game to enter, but there's a lot
we
of
can't even call that. We can't even call it inexpensive. What's the going price for a starting package now?
$45. You can probably get it for $40. So $45 versus like when I say inexpensive, I mean like versus like a standard game, like $50 to $70. That's what I mean.
That's not much of a difference.
It's not much of a difference.
All right,
Even
fine.
okay,
it's a pay for entry.
Yeah, even if you do, like, you still have to convert it. If like some people don't just play in the United States. There's people playing in Europe and all that stuff. I will tell you straight up, like the starter pay for Star Citizen is actually around 40. I would say around $60 up here. So
In
again,
Canada?
in
Yeah.
Canada, so they haven't, and the fact that it costs that much to enter, especially like in Canada, if they ever want to go to Canada, it's like it's not really worth it.
I mean, I'm looking at.
You know what? Actually, I'm going to agree with you because what does the $45 even give you? An Aurora, which is basically a manned torpedo at this point.
Yep.
45 and 45's being nice here. If we're going to be completely honest, and you don't want a starter ship that has the cargo capacity of 1 or 0, you're looking at what? Something in the price range of the 300i? That's like 60
actually,
$70 bucks.
Actually, let's just go with their Invictus starter packs right now, what they're selling.
Yeah,
all right, sure. Let's just go by those standards.
Yeah, so right now we have the Seeker Invictus starter pack, which gives you 2 pieces of armor, a skin, and a 10-year insurance on a Pisces for $51 American.
Which is actually not worth. I mean, it's worth it on the short term, especially if you're planning to play it. The problem is that are you even gonna use that shit for very long?
Well, the thing is, though, here's what starter ships are supposed to be in our game. It's supposed to be our starting point to get things done. So bunker runs, delivery packages, not even hauling, just basic, assistance, and also a little bit of support here and there. But yeah, and also it's starter ships also have a special. I like to say like the sort of starter reclaim time. Their insurance time is usually below the 3-minute mark.
But people want the big ships, though. That's
all
the
right.
thing.
But if I were to recommend, if you talk to most content creators, out in Star Citizen, majority of them are going to recommend, and even the community are going to recommend the Avenger Titan, which they also have a starter pack. So standard price for a starter pack for Avenger Titan is $75.
That's a polite way of saying it's a AAA game.
Yes.
You're paying a AAA game with possibly 1 DLC on it somewhere.
Yeah.
And just for perspective, I started this game in a C8X Pisces. Mm-hmm. Now, that's $60. That's a AAA game with no DLC. And don't get me wrong, it does what it says on the tin, but my goodness, you honestly think anybody in their right mind is going to stay on this ship for more than like the first couple of missions before they can figure something else out? Because what am I doing with this? Missile payload, practically non-existent. Guns, the smallest that can possibly be fitted. Armor, it's a tin can. And
Yes,
flight
but-
speed is mediocre.
Actually, no, the Pisces is actually really good for flight speed. Now, let's talk about the Avenger Titan, though. The Avenger Titan is the go-to ship that is recommended. Now, right now, it's up for $63.75. That is still AAA range. So, all right. Okay. But at least, if you bought it during, like, this event, at least you're getting actually relatively worthwhile thing. You're getting actually more firepower than a Gladius, to be fair. So,
or the arrow for that matter.
yeah, except the arrow can duel, and the Avenger Titan can duel, just don't get hit. Yeah.
Well, I'm talking to I'm gonna talk like a fucking newbie here because I'm like,
Which is
kinda
actually-
a newbie.
Yeah, but which is
Because-
actually a very good perspective to have.
Yeah.
Like-
So as a newbie, like most people would just go for the cheapest price, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Not looking at the ships, not doing any research with it, which I did. And I'm gonna tell you, it's like, what's probably the one thing that's probably gonna be, cheaper in the wallet? I would say if I were to pick any of the ships, I would go for the Arrow because it's gonna cost $45 USD. But in actuality, if you go for Canadian prices, it's gonna be somewhere around. 55 to 60.
Arrow's not 45. Check your
No,
math.
when I started.
Wait, how'd you get your arrow for 45 again?
Remember last year I got into it, but never really bothered playing because I was scared of heights.
But how'd you
You
get the
didn't get
arrow
it
for
for
45? How'd you get the
You
arrow
didn't
for
get the arrow for
45?
45.
Starter.
No, it's not. It's 75.
No,
It's
it's
practically
starter.
double the price now.
No, remember I started like last year, and it was around $45 with the DLC and everything. That was the starter at that time.
No, it's been 90 for like the longest time. I
Is
don't
it?
know. Yes.
'Cause I
Wait,
thought
Dude,
it
it's
was-
a combat ship. It gets the combat ship
Yeah.
tax.
wait, maybe it's because one of us may have sent you like the Pisces starter pack and you upgrade to Arrow yourself?
Yeah, that's probably it.
I don't think so. No, I
Because-
bought it. No. I bought it with the Arrow
I know you
when I
bought
first
the
got it.
So there is no way you spent 45
You did
bucks
not
on
get
it.
45. You did not
Well,
get
it's
45.
USD. Hold on, let me go check anyway.
It's 90 USD and I know it's been like that for years.
Let me go check it out though. Let me see
Yeah.
if I'm actually wrong. I probably
Yeah.
I
don't
call
remember it.
shenanigans impossible.
Yeah, I call shenanigans on that one.
Let me go check.
But yeah,
I still have
but back to our like earlier thing, like yeah, so CIG is about to experience the same problems as Wargaming with their
Yes.
content creator exodus. After pissing them off completely. Now, if memory serves correctly, it was because it was due to very bad connection. Okay, no, it wasn't. They had a meeting about like going forward with monetization, right? And majority of content creators, and I think I'm taking this from old Jingles, Rear Admiral Jingles.
Why are you relying on jingles?
Okay.
Who else are you gonna bring in on this one?
There's a lot of I mean there's a lot of old content creators that like I don't remember anymore, but Jingles is the only one that kind of sticks in my mind. And
Or the part
is-
where they shafted Little White
Yeah.
Mouse, but you know.
yeah, so they shafted Little White Mouse, so they pretty much shafted one of the content creators that was very very like integrated into their community. And yeah, and probably one of the most helpful ones. And they also spoke to them saying, "Hey, yeah, we will take your feedback, about like this like monetization scheme, like stuff going forward." And from what I understand, they did not follow through with that. Instead, they just ramped up monetization like crazy. And then like yeah, and I think the Little White Mouse thing was like the last straw for many of them. So that caused a lot of drama. Now, I'm sure I'm sure I got a lot of that wrong because it happened years ago. What?
Sorry, let me interrupt for a second.
Yeah.
So the first thing, actually, I still remember it very, very, very vividly.
Okay. Yeah.
So when that ship came, when that ship was in, when they were discussing it,
Yukon. It was the
yes,
Yukon.
Yes, Yukon. Yeah, there we
yeah,
go.
Yeah, it was
it
the
went,
Yukon.
it went 180. Wargaming decided to go 180 on it,
Yeah.
so that kind of pissed off Little White Mouse and Lurt, I believe.
Yes.
And
It
then
was
yes. So let's recap what the hell that is. So I'm going to put this in very simple terms. Let's take the person who is arguably the single best in-game researcher for how all of this works, who has published numerous guides on practically every single ship we've ever released. Let's take her suggestion, throw it out the window, slap her name on it, and then also re-tier it because, it made no sense at what tier it was.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just gonna say we took her input on it because reasons.
And that was just the start of it.
Yeah, and they also did not use the designed camo, the designed flag that they already had. They spent months on this. Now, the thing is, though, one slight caveat, though, is that there was a change in communication, like point of communication. So they were talking to a totally different team, and then that team was like shut down, and then like all that communication just thrown out the window with the second team. So yeah, but I also remember there was a time when like there was a bunch of like CCs that talked to community managers or something regarding like monetization scheme as well, like how to proceed with an event, and they didn't take their feedback at all either. So
because that's become par for the course for them, yes.
Yeah, so it just became more and more aggressive. Yeah. And then I think ever since that content creator like Exodus, pretty much their player base started just sort of plateauing from there. And then at that point, they stopped. Like I've noticed that they're not doing as much like outreach to bring new players in. Instead, they're just basically
Sorry, they did attempt to actually get new players in, but
for the first year.
Yeah, but they didn't. But they did. But the thing is that also didn't really work out either.
Yeah.
Can't imagine why.
Yeah. So, yeah, they basically said, "Whoops, our bad. We're sorry. We won't do this again, etc." 8 months later, you're doing it.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, you know what it was? It was the random bundles.
Yeah.
Oh goody! Oh god!
Yes. So they were taking feedback on the random bundles crap.
Oh god! Let me get a drink on that one. That was so cursed.
Okay. Also, like So random bundles is how do I get to the armory here? Oh, go to armory. Here you go. So let me just show this on stream, just so that just to show everybody what random bundles are. So random bundles. Nope, not that one.
Wasn't that started in Azure Lane?
No,
I do remember that.
No, Azure Lane never got random bundles.
No, they did.
Yes, they did. Yeah, I
remember.
They did eventually, but it was they're not doing one this time.
So I don't believe it was them that particularly started the trend. So back when all this happened, a bit of context. This was back in the age where for whatever reason that C-suite people like to say, what was it again? Monetization or something?
Yeah.
Anyway, they said that basically, so our game has nothing to do with gambling. And despite the fact that we could ostensibly sell items individually in the shop for reasonable prices and as individual items, so you pick and choose what you want and then pay for it, they came up with this idea, and those of you who played the Overwatch original game may be familiar with this. They came up with this idea, for those of you who don't know what loot boxing is, where essentially, instead of buying an individual item, you buy a loot box which has a preset determined chance to drop X, Y, or Z things from the list of things that the loot box could theoretically contain.
And
It
Exhibit
is,
A
in
right
essence,
now,
gambling.
Exhibit A right now is
Yep.
the Azure Lane Ocean Guardians crates containers.
Which,
Those
by
are your
the way,
gotchas.
I did buy one before I quit the game. Uh, it's crap,
Yeah.
especially the drop rates.
Well, yeah. It used to be. I don't know if you remember. It used to be like you only had 1 out of 3 chances to get an Azure Lane girl. Now it's 100% chance to get a girl. But because there's so many, you're not going to. You're more than likely not going to get the one you want.
And hence,
Yeah.
the idea is, if you're the business, that the person buying these loot crates will buy more
Yeah.
of them and thus spend more
Yep.
money than they would have actually spent buying the individual item,
Yeah.
because people are terrible at impulse control, and
Yep.
we just want their money.
So
Now, for
now,
those of you who may be
especially-
listening, that sounds incredibly predatory, mostly because it kind of is.
what do you mean kind of? It is. But
Kind
let
of.
me circle back though to what random bundles are. Like the random bundles are. So basically it's a sequence of random items. So what I have on screen now is the free one that you get one daily. So that's the annoying, less predatory one that forces you to log in. That's your daily login bonus. Yay, yippity day, woohoo. Hooray for mobile gaming. But basically, they allowed you to buy different tiers, and there's a chance that the item, like the big item, is going to be, potentially in the earlier ones. But and then once you get deeper and deeper to not get it, you enter sunk cost fallacy, where like, well, if I'm already 18 out of 36 in, I might as well just pay the rest. Kind of like that.
Now, the tricky thing about this is that in some mechanics, these chances are not entirely random. By which I mean that the fixed ratio of chances is not actually fixed. Theoretically, in some of these situations, you would think that in a completely fair system, if you have 36 boxes to purchase, that any one of these 36 boxes might contain whatever the top tier item is, and that it would be an even chance on any given loot box in a perfectly fair system where you're not choosing anything. Here's where things get weird. Sometimes people don't do that because for whatever reason, some systems, and I hate to call Nikkei out on this, but I am going to do it, like their costume gacha, does not actually allow have any chance of dropping at all until you get X number of boxes into the chain. Alternatively, the chances are extremely low at first, and then ramp up as you go along. Now, you might be saying, well, what's the difference between that and just doing this on a flat rate, like a completely random draw? And the difference being that if you have the chances super, super low at the very start and super high at the very end, what really ends up happening is that you don't have a normal distribution of people getting things at like completely random times. Like there's a chance that you might get it on the first draw. Instead, the system completely negates that possibility, or at least drastically reduces it, so that you are in fact going to mathematically purchase more boxes before you get the item that you want.
Yep. Now, the thing is though, it wasn't like this all the time. Back in the day, it was just like it was just like Star Citizen, where you get what you pay for. You buy what you want. Not this randomness, not this random bundles, not these stupid bundles not these bundles where like you cannot a la carte what you want to get. And this is what CIG has now done right now. So on top of just paywalling and selling actual features and things that affect stats in game, which can potentially lead to pay to win, but that's not the main issue. That is a big issue though. But the main issue is that they're paywalling an experience that can have consequences. And World of Warships, as I mentioned before, has been doing that in a way too. Basically, when if there's like a new playstyle or a new line of ships coming out,
early access,
not early access, they'll have a premium ship that has that sort of like playstyle or play doctrine. So like So it'll be that a new like American light cruiser. No, yeah, it'll be like a new American light cruiser line, right? And then they'll release a ship that embodies that playstyle for purchase with real money. Then months later, they'll develop that line of ships that you're supposed to grind in game, but they're built into a stupid early access event that also includes those random bundle packs where you pay with real money or in game, not in game currency, but like premium currency that you buy with real game money to basically cross your fingers to get something that you'll get for free eventually. And then 3 to 6 months down the road, it'll be out of early access. No, it's not 6 months. It's like what, 2 to 3 months? Yeah, 2 to 3 months. They'll be out for grinding later down the road. So basically, but during the event, at least you get the tier 8 or something, or the first ship out of that tier for free if you just play the game, which is fine, I guess. But tier 9 and tier 10, either you pay or you wait to grind it. So yeah. Yeah. Now, yeah, so basically, and the thing is though, like as we mentioned before, Wargaming does not seem to be interested in outreach anymore. They're not looking for new players. They're just trying to milk what they have, and that's why their player have you guys noticed that they're not even really doing much with the naval community tokens? It used to be where like they encourage you to recruit people and get these tokens. Now you just get them just from doing Twitch streams.
They also actually, I've also noticed this that they've also stopped doing the naval legends too.
Yeah, they
Series as
stopped
well.
doing those. Although to be fair, those do cost money.
But the thing is that it actually helps out with
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
getting more people in the game. But the problem is that they've stopped doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like a lot of that stuff was very informative. They were interesting. They brought in experts, like people with credentials, and also they brought and the great thing I liked about it is that it brought a lot of exposure for a lot of to the museum ships and help support them. So I like that. Yeah.
Now it's not really anymore.
Now it's not really anymore.
Oh, that's been years since they've done that.
Yeah.
Although for them, I think they have more pressing matters at hand as a game company, namely the fact that they've essentially shot themselves in the foot as far as community relations have gone. And their PR is, shall we say, non-existent.
Yeah, and they also utilize the FOMO tactics of get this skin, get this thing, limited time, etc. To give you some history on the Azure Lane bundles, because why not? It used to be where you can just purchase the girls you want in like either small bundles or like individually, or them with a special ship or something, or the entire collection. But now I'm gonna go back to the store. How do I go back to the store? Just out of the armory.
Because it used to be, I remember that they used to do the way they used to do was that yes, it would be a bundle, but all of the bundle items would be related to one another for obvious reasons. Like, say, if you bought the commander, you would also get their designated ship to go with it. Usually, there would be one or two of these per collab.
Yeah,
and it made sense. It's like, yes, I still would have preferred having this done a la carte, but at least all of the items are directly related to one another, and their pairing makes sense.
Yeah, now it's you don't have the option of just buying the individuals. You have to buy this massive bundle with all of them.
Sorry about that. But do you guys still remember when they did the Arpeggio Blue Steel?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. No, not the ARP Yamato. I'm talking about like way back when the Congo Sisters and the other one did. Do you guys still remember that they did it for free?
That was actually probably before my time.
Yeah, that was my time. And they did everything for free. Like you can all you have to do is unlock their thing. Now with this they could have actually done that too, but now they're doing the more monetary route too.
I either have to buy the entire harem here,
Mm-hmm.
or buy her with a copy of a ship. So even if I owned the real Kearsarge, I would not get compensated in like doubloons.
Yes, because they're technically designated as two separate ships, even though they are functionally identical.
Yep.
Very clever way to get around their own rules, but there you go.
And they also did kind of lie as well, because they did say way back when, like, they're not gonna add in tier 10 ships or tier 8 ships, and yet,
Shimikaze, Yamato,
yeah,
Hindenburg,
yeah, and yet here they are doing,
and they're at a massive premium. So the difference between
Yeah.
a tier 9 and tier 10 ship is over $50.
Yeah,
Yeah. That is egregious. Yeah, Wargaming is basically like went through a year of, not even a full year of like self-penance. They just went like, I think we can do it now. Let's do it.
They won't notice, I'm sure.
No, we noticed. We noticed. Now, the one good thing I did like from the Transformers collab this year was they gave an 80% coupon. So, like, if you're just interested in buying one single item, like, let's say, I really wish they actually had the 80% like Azure Link coupon. Now it's just only Montpellier is the only 80% off. But basically, I had the choice of like, yay, I just want Starscream. All right, $17, done. All right, cool, perfect. Hey.
Reasonable prices for individual items. Not in my monetization scheme.
All right, but let's just jump. Let's go back to CIG. We haven't forgotten about you, CIG. So yeah, you just experienced one of the biggest PR nightmares. Again, to be fair, you had a like Star Citizen has, as I said, has had a stained brand. Now it's just scarred. Like, even if they released 1.0, that stink, that scar is going to still remain. Like, we know like this could be like a 10 out of 10 game, but people are going to remember like how you got here. So you made bad decisions, you broke a lot of trust, a lot of confidence. Yeah. So we have patch bundles back, very similar to what World of Warships does. Basically, like this, basically cosmetics and weapons, pretty much gated in a bundle. You cannot buy a la carte. And just like in World of Warships, same thing, new patch. The freaking Eskimo Admiral pack right here. Pretty much you get you just get all this bullcrap that I don't need, that I can just earn in game. Ugh. Yeah. And then,
for
of course,
money.
yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah. Now, so far, Star Citizen has not done random bundles and gacha loot crates.
Please
Not yet.
Stop
yet.
Giving them ideas. Stop
Oh
giving
no,
them
I'm sure
ideas.
they're aware. I'm sure they're aware because I know one of their marketing guys used to work as vice president of marketing at Perfect World Entertainment.
Oh my god. Okay.
Oh
No. Hey, Kate. Do you remember Star Trek Online?
Oh no.
The less spoken
that?
of that, the better.
Yep.
Yeah. If Kate here doesn't want to talk about it, can you imagine what's gonna happen if they add this? If they add whatever ideas they had for Star Trek Online for Star Citizen? Do you have any idea how atrocious that was?
Listen, guys.
I'm glad you agree that we should not add Star Trek ships.
No.
Guys, hear me out on this. Listen, I think we all know, everyone in this chat room plays gacha games to an extent. All of us know how gambling works. All of us know how a rate system works. Seriously, I don't think any of you need an explanation on this. No? Okay. So look, I am used to the idea at this point that you're not necessarily buying an item, you're buying a probability of getting an item. I've grown used to that concept. Frankly, I still dislike it to some extent, but sometimes the quality is so worthwhile that I'm willing to do it anyway. Fine.
Yeah, and the worst part is for us because like we have real lives. We're grown up. Like we don't have time. We've pretty much normalized the fact that yes, gotcha's a thing. We'll have to take it.
But that's something I'm willing to accept with a certain degree of quality being involved and with an understanding that the game was fundamentally built and balanced with these concepts in mind. If you start trying to add this stuff and shoehorn it in where it doesn't belong, you're going to find out that people don't enjoy that very much. Gacha games have a very specific audience, and they stay within that audience for a reason.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to wind up like Blizzard did with their obnoxious crap, the best thing I'd recommend is to not. There are easier and better ways to do this. A la carte is the most simple approach, and it is by and far away the most tried and tested one over the years. It's still the way every fucking grocery on this planet operates, and frankly, should be the way it remains. I don't buy a bag of things prepackaged for me. I buy individual items like a normal human being. Yeah. But now, on the assumption that that's too hard for you, and you want to monetize a little harder, there is always the opportunity to jack up the price. You don't have to introduce artificial scarcity. In this case, they did. But you can do that too if you absolutely must, within certain limitations. But adding in what is essentially pay-to-win mechanics in a system like this, I don't understand. What was your goal here? I understand that every business is fundamentally trying to make money, and every business is thus incentivized to push the boundary.
Yeah, so basically CIG did respond. They said that like we're just following our usual like template where like any new thing we add, like new item we add, we basically like this is the first. But the thing is though, this is one of the few smaller items that. Oh, hold on. Sorry. Yeah, this is one of the first like smaller items that is very impactful. That potentially can be very impactful on our experience. So basically, what a lot of people are like, yes, we accept that we need to like buy ships. We accept that we not need to, but like we accept that you need to monetize. You're buying ships. This was very petty, and this is a feature that you're selling. So
what, the blades or
the blades? Yeah, like that's an actual feature.
Yeah. Okay, so my question is, because I haven't seen this in game yet, but how much do these cost, ostensibly?
So for the smallest ones, $12.
Yeah.
Oh, UEC?
No. UEC wise.
We don't know. They're not in game yet. That's the problem. It's paywalled. So they walked it back. We're like, oh, don't worry, it'll be ready by next major patch. Then the big explosion of bad press happened. Okay, it's this summer. More bad press. All right, fine. It's going to be in the June patch. I'm like, early access to Blades.
It's a 30-day exclusivity period. That's what you're telling me.
Yeah, so they treated these items kind of like what our ships were, like the new ships. So like the new ships will be available as a promotion.
Personally, I look at this the way I look at modules in general. I understand the ships being widely available, limited availability in some respect. Fine. You have to buy the ships at some point, and later on they're added to the game in quick succession. Fine. If you can earn it in game, that's good. I just don't like the idea of modules being up for sale. If I told you that I was selling, I don't know, NDBs for like $10 a pop, you'd probably have a hissy fit. And the naysayers would say, "Well, you can buy. You don't have to buy them. You can earn them in game after undergoing extensive trials and challenges." You might say something like that, or you might say, "Well, who cares? There are other laser repeaters that are out and available and commonly used, and you don't need an NDB. And yeah, you could say that. After all, you could also just mount the standard flight blade that comes in every ship. True. But if I told someone that I was selling NDBs, they'd throw a hissy fit. Because people don't like the idea of parameter modifying items being in game and being purely for monetary value.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the important takeaways here.
Yeah. And what's even and for me who loves
one thing,
skins,
if it's a new ship, we've all sort of accepted that fact. But something that openly affects gameplay, even by, well, I'm going to be upfront here and say a fairly modest amount. These blades do have some uses, I'm sure, but
the hammerhead one's $30
entirely. But even just like the mild flight and performance changes, I think people should be aware in the future. Looking at you, game devs, please do not sell performance modifying items without making them available for UEC.
Yeah,
that would be my advice to you.
You know what the funny thing is that like I was worried about starting Mecha Break because I saw there was performance like modifying like items in these like little like random boxes, and I thought, oh god, is the gacha going to be these like the performance modification in like a PvP oriented with a 6v6 competitive like game? No. But they didn't do that yet with their beta, so I'm like, okay, that's better. And they actually took away took away the firepower like stat entirely. So yeah,
because that is the very essence of pay to win.
Yeah,
that is the very fundamental essence of pay to win. I can accept having a giant ship around that you need to purchase and requires some 20 men to actually man working together. Fine. It's balanced around that fact. It's vulnerable to certain types of weapons. It requires a great deal of people to actually function. Fine, I can live with that. But selling items that modify the performance in game, and you're just selling it purely for money, it's going to be very hard to avoid the accusation that you're making things pay to win.
Yeah, and also like on top of that, this is the same bundling techniques as wargaming.
Mm-hmm.
You can't like I want these skins. Like I want to give you money, CIG. Like I want to buy these skins. Like to do little supports here and there. But I don't want to buy these blades on principle.
As far as the bundling concern is involved, my suggestion is this. Don't do this unnecessarily. Bundle items should be directly related to one another if you absolutely must.
Yeah.
Do not randomly throw things together that do not make sense. I don't care that you're giving me a golden laser rifle with this car, for example. That is not helping me. If you must
the
find
joke
an
is
alternative.
Also, there is a joke, by the way. You can buy bomb racks. They just don't come with bombs.
Yeah, that's another one that a lot of content.
Would you like me to add batteries not included?
No, a lot of content creators are actually the one that I watch for. They have been complaining about that as well.
Yeah. My proposal is very simple. Instead of bundling things together in an item, if I may make a suggestion, why not do the obvious thing here that people have been doing for years, and 1, suggest related items at checkout, because that is a very classical thing to do, and 2, if you want to make this even more palatable, consider offering a discount on the related item in question.
They actually do that.
Don't feel pressured to do that anymore.
Yeah, they actually kind of do that. When you buy, like when you have a ship in the cart, they actually recommend items. They recommend items like paints and stuff to go with your ship. So yeah, it's just one of those things.
Yeah, that's widely accepted though, because you're not forcing anyone to do anything.
Yeah, it's the same concept of you're waiting in line to check out, and they in the stores strategically place items or
soda, iced tea, candy bars, and
you name it. Yeah, Yeah. So like, just in case you want water for the road, or you forgot a little teapot, you want to buy this like freaking napkin set. Yeah. So
it's like if you want to make people less angry,
mhm.
I mean, I guess stop giving them reasons to be angry with you is a bit too easy of a concept.
I mean,
How about this? Don't make your game pay to win if it wasn't already that way in the first place. And if it was, then I don't suggest adding new ways to do it if you're trying to keep your players.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that's
no.
magic here.
But the thing is that's where a lot of companies are going, though. That's the problem.
Yeah. And the thing is, so what's the worst part is that like Chris Roberts, he hated Microsoft and like those companies because they went down that route. And he started doing this. And here's what I like about Star Citizen in terms of the basic monetization thing. I could pledge to buy a ship, let's say for total of $150. So same amount for a tier 10 like World of Warships ships. If I don't like it, I had the option to send it back for store credit and get something else. I don't see that. I don't see that trade in very often with many other games. That's very fair because, yeah, there's going to be something new and pretty in Star Citizen. You may not have the cash to get it. All right, well, let me just swap out my old one and for a new one. Like,
well,
yeah.
I suppose we can only hope they'll take those lessons into account.
No, they won't. No, honestly, I'm kind of skeptical, to be honest, because they probably will not follow through that.
Yeah, like a lot of
and also
we have every right to be.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And and also it really depends on how popular it is, as well. So if it's popular, it's selling really, really well. It's similar to what's going on in Wargaming too. If it sells really nicely, they can probably do it again and again and again. So if you guys want to, if you guys want to have this not happen again, don't buy it.
Yeah,
It'll
which
give a
a
message.
lot of people are.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are just sort of like renting it with store credit and then sending it back out. They're not going to even bother like keeping it. So Star Citizen at like CIG at least is not getting new money.
Yeah.
With this now, would you like me to read to you? I don't. Have you guys seen their response?
Oh, please do show.
Oh, please.
Do show.
All right,
dude. I want to hear this.
All right, let's
dissect this one, shall we?
All right. So let's read their initial thing, introducing the flight blades with. Oh boy. You know what? I'm surprised they haven't locked the thread. Normally they would if they're like going through a lot of hard time. So good on them for not locking the thread.
Watch as they actually delete the thread instead.
No, the thread is like trying to load like 9,000 like responses right now. No joke.
I don't know if you can hear the slow clap right now, but the slow clap is coming through. Wait, who just joined the channel?
It actually really isn't coming through, dude.
Oh, really? I'll have to try a little harder then.
Here we go. Here it is. What are flight blades? In simple terms, flight blades are components that go into your computer ports, adjust the flight behavior in two key ways currently: speed, maneuverability, etc. All right. While using flight blades, they can boost money. Okay, so that explains what it is. So they explain what ships go into, why were these ships chosen, use blah blah. Okay. Will flight blades be available for purchase in games? Now, the thing is, though, this, and screenshots to prove it, yes, flight blades will be available in game stores for AUEC this summer. The thing is, though, that used to say this will be available next, next major patch. Then they put it to summer. Now they confirmed it's June. People were mad. If you guys want to see, over 6,300 downvotes. 3,857 clown emoji. 3,520 poop emoji. 3,438 Picard facepalm emoji. Money bag 3,224 and facepalm emoji 3,000 and
talk about some freaking ratios.
Just a lot. And And here, then let's go and see what
I'm
they
sure it gets
say
worse.
about it.
Because of course it does.
Yeah.
I think they're angry.
All right. Xylo, here we go. I love the first thing we see. Picard. Facepalm.
Yes. Good job, Star Trek.
All right,
Anyway,
so throughout Star Citizen's evolution, one fundamental principle has remained paramount. Everything you pledge for to support our development will eventually be attainable through gameplay. Your contribution helps push things forward, but your time in the verse should be equally rewarded. We're pushing 11 patches this year instead of 4. We're crushing more bugs than ever, building fasting, more exciting content, moving faster than ever to make Persistent Universe a better experience for everyone. And in moving that fast, we missed a step. All right, that entire part can go. Like we're trying hard. We're doing our best, sort of thing. That's just your marketing team sucks. To be clear, the new flight blades will be obtainable for AUEC in our next patch this June. We followed our usual approach by offering early access to the pledge store to help support development. But after some reflection, we've decided that our smaller components like flight blades or bomb racks, they should be available in game at the same time they appear in store. That missed the point. They shouldn't be purchasable at all. The choice has and should always be yours. If you want to support the project early, you can, but it's not required. If you own a game package, you'll be able to pick these up with in-game currency in our next monthly patch and for future gameplay kit introductions. We'll ensure these items are obtainable in game on day one. Thanks for everyone who's weighed in, especially those who brought the heat constructively. This game has always been shaped by the community. Star Citizen wouldn't exist without your passion and support or screening support. We hear you and we take it all to heart.
What heart?
So they're trying to have their cake and eat it too. This is barely a walk back. Like, you're trying to have that, like, you want that door still open to sell those, which is not great. All right. And here's the thing. There is one aspect, actually, that they did sell these kits. Does anyone remember purchasing a 300i series?
Oh.
So that
yeah.
kind of made sense. That was kind of cool because you were sort of like...
But you're talking about cosmetics, yes?
No. So if you look at my screen here, in the stream, so cosmetics and all that, but at the very bottom, look at that. Kits. Item kits. Yes?
Oh boy.
But the thing is, though, it's just $2. Or 11. Jesus. All right, I take that back. 25. 24.
It keeps getting worse.
It gets worse. Okay. Damn, way to prove me wrong in real time, CIG. So, but the thing is, though, in this case, you can have a slight argument like you're kind of crafting your own starter pack. Yeah. But still not great. I don't recommend it. Yeah. This was fun, though. Building your own, like, customizable ship. Honestly, I wish they did this more often. Like, that's a cool experience. Just, yeah. The thing is, a lot of those items weren't pay to win. You can actually get all that stuff just from playing, to be honest. But that could be just because, like, maybe that started off that way. Anyway, in conclusion, TLDR, CIG is entering potentially the CC exodus, the content creator exodus from what World of Warships experienced.
It'll be funny, guys.
And now...
No.
Yes, potentially. So, their image is now scarred. Their legacy is completely scarred. That reputation currency is spent. And it's going to take a lot to earn that reputational currency. Because in marketing, you have a brand currency, reputational currency, and of course, regular currency. How you leverage that determines how good your brand's going to do. All right. I'm very pro-consumer because I am a consumer. But at the same time, like, I'm trying to see this from a marketing perspective, which I did go through. This blows my mind. Like,
yes, you just didn't want it to be horrifically bad.
Yeah. Like Fortnite and Overwatch, they just muddled their brand. And Call of Duty, they're just muddling their brand with like collabs. Okay? They're not innovating on the game. They're doing paints. Whereas Star Citizen, the things though, like what I like still, and this hopefully this doesn't change, is at least I know what I'm getting, and which is the only thing left I like about the store that I can keep swapping over. But final thoughts.
Well, we'll see how that pans out. Really, I think this just boils down to who's in charge. There are going to be some people who are going to be very upset about this, I'm sure, in C-suite somewhere, because I don't think any particular executive likes watching their brand sink, especially doubly so for someone who is whom this was an actual passion project. They may be more than a little bit displeased.
The thing is, though, that's what I like. That's the thing, though. Like, I actually can almost call this a game, because I used to just call it project. Ever since they started doing this push for stability, like, it's been feeling good with each patch. Like, I actually can play the game. But that's anecdotal, of course. Like, some people's experience may vary. I'm sorry to a lot of people.
The Polaris event is still broken for me, but...
Okay, first of all, that's Invictus, and that's every big event. The fact that Free Fly hasn't fallen apart like previous years is impressive. We're making progress, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, our technical achievement of the year.
Yeah. The one thing I will not deny is that this is a passion project of passion projects. There's just so much care and like quality to the art that I cannot deny that like the devs and artists are doing an amazing freaking job. And I would not want to see them go because they can't be funded because of boycotting and a bad reputation. That's pretty much how the Banu Merchantman was lost. The entire team went to Star Atlas, which is a crypto game.
And by the way, that is not doing pretty well. Just like
the crypto's getting back for now, for reasons. But then so we lost a lot of people to Ubisoft.
Great company, by the way.
Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. So there you go. TLDR, CIG, bad. No, don't do it. Don't become Wargaming. Yeah, you're not a gacha game, like Salty Mike says.
Please don't become one.
But don't become one, and do not treat yourself like every other heartless freaking corpo. Okay, maybe that's just wishful thinking. I'm sorry. I'm going to go ahead and shoot myself in the tongue for that one. All right.
Well, nice going, genius.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and rip my freaking voice box out of that one.
Good job.
All right. But, all right. Don't let okay, you know what? Better yet, don't let marketing dictate your development. I get it, you have little deadlines for events. But don't do it. That's all I'm going to say.
A reminder to all of our friends at the company that marketing and finance are not game developers.
Yeah.
They may very well run the business side of things, but they're definitely not any good at making a game. And they sure as hell can't be trusted with, keeping good relations if this was anything to go by.
Yeah. Now, there is one thing I will say this. A lot of the devs and even a producer did not know about this.
Or
I'm sure they're going to have a lovely chat about this.
Like, this is definitely somewhere in marketing, and they step above in the executive offices. Like, basically, executive office says, I need you to make this money / quota. Do what you can. CMO is
I
like,
don't think this is what they had in mind.
Okay, what can we do? We can just follow our usual thing for everything now. Great, let's do it. Because
So War Botniks, sorry, let
What?
me intercede. So in
Yeah.
War Botniks, you did say the chief of marketing happens to work for Perfect World, right?
So I took a look. I did take a look a little bit. Apparently, at least one of their marketing guys was used to be the vice president of Perfect World Entertainment. And I remember Perfect World Entertainment. And I think they were bought by Embracer Group.
Yeah.
But I remember they had some monetization aspect that was not popular.
It was not popular at all.
Which one?
Star Trek Online. Look at Star Trek Online.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh. Listen, if you can I'm just saying, if your monetization is repulsive enough to make gotcha veterans want to kind of throw up in their mouth a little, guys, I think this isn't something you should be doing.
Yeah, I play
I'm just saying.
Games. Yeah, I play gotcha games. I get it. But at least I want to come back to something like this where at least I know what I'm getting, but I don't want this. It's a feature. It's an actual feature. It impacts my play very much. Well, potentially can impact very much. So, all right. We've beat this dead horse more than enough. All right. Everyone can do what you want with your money. I was going to buy one of these with store credit to test it out, but thank God I watched enough videos to know what it does, and it's coming in June. I will wait for the skins to be available some other time, hopefully, and figure it out from there. So
I think I will be refraining from spending any new money on this game this year.
not for a while. I think
I will simply stick to shuffling the credits around a bit.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do too.